Okay, now we are studying of a type of letter of credit. So our summarized, we have reviewed up to now. Type of LC, right? Number one, irrevocable. Number two, payment LC. I will review to remind and to recall your memory. Payment LC. Number three, freely negotiable LC, general LC, opening LC, the same way. Freely negotiable LC, another word, general LC, open LC. Same meaning, right? And also, number four is deferred payment LC. We have studied deferred payment LC, deferred payment LC, and number five, acceptance LC. Acceptance LC. Number six, restricted special LC. Another word, special LC. Restricted of special LC. Number seven is a straight LC. Okay. Another means that nominated LC. Okay. Number eight, we have studied conforming LC. Number nine, reimbursement LC. Reimbursement LC. So we have studied this, right? So again, from okay, so reimbursement LC, we have studied this, and then we will go next. Documentary LC and clean LC. Okay. What is the documentary LC and what is the clean LC? So, irrevocable LC. Oops, sorry. Payment LC, freely negotiable LC, deferred payment LC, acceptance LC, restricted special LC, straight LC, nominated LC, okay? Confirming LC, reimbursement LC. So we have to remember, and you have to recall all of these type of LC. This one will be presented at the final terms, okay? So let's go to the number 10 type of LC. Documentary LC, number 10. We need to study documentary and clean LC. Documentary LC and clean LC. This LC is different. This is contrary concept, okay? What is documentary LC? The LC accompanying document, like BL, okay? And like country of origin, okay? And commercial invoice, packing list, like that, okay? The document. Requested. LC, right? Okay, this LC, documentary LC include BL, CO, CI, PL like this. The document, okay? Once the applicant apply LC, the applicant request the document, okay? Most of the commercial LC accompanying document like this, okay? Accompanying document like this. Okay, then. But clean LC is different. Clean LC, like the word clean, do not need no document. No document. So, actually, the document LC is a commercial LC. Usually. No document LC. Okay? So, in this LC, the LC do not request documentation like shipping documentations, okay? Transportation documentations, okay? In this case, this is not on the basis of trading, okay? Commercial trading. This is also called standby LC, right? Standby LC. Okay, this type of clean LC is used for guarantee or warranty, etc. Not for commercial trading. This LC do not need any document, do not request a document. So we called this one as a clean. So clean LC, right? Clean LC. Okay. But this LC, documentary LC require commercial invoice, like BL, CO, CI, okay, PL, etc. Okay, and the big difference between two is documentary LC is usually used for the commercial trading, and contrary, clean LC is used for the warranty and guarantee. Okay, so if the documentary LC is opened by import, usually by import, but this LC is contrarily used by export. Okay, I will give you some explanations for some example. Okay, for this case, okay, I will explain the detail and specific items of clean LC. But okay, once open LC for the commercial trading, the applicant of import open LC, okay, for merchandise, right? For the commercial product, right? The import, okay, in this case, open LC for merchandise, right? Okay, but this import can request a warranty or performance, okay, etc. I mean, for the bidding, okay. In this case, the import request export, okay. We are suspicious of your performance. The meaning of performance is to implement the contract. Implement the contract, right? So we are very suspicious, okay? In case of you do not proceed implement of a contract, you need a penalty to reimbursement our damages. So please deposit as a standby LC. Okay? Then in this case, contrary to commercial LC, export will open LC, right? To make sure of performance. And then if the export do not proceed performance, this amount opened by clean LC will be drawn by import as a compensation right there. Okay, this kind of LC is called clean LC. Okay, so you have distinguished clean LC and documentary LC. The clean LC is usually used for the warranty, performance, bidding, depositions, right? This is quite different and usually opened by export, not import as usual. Okay, this is difference between documentary LC and clean LC. So we might have a chance to look into details of clean LC and type of clean LC. Okay, but later on, not this time. Okay, so just remember that the distinguish I told you just now, right? And then we will go number 11, the type of LC, okay, site LC and nuisance LC. We have already studied similar concept of site LC and site LC and nuisance LC. Okay, as you can detect easily, The site LC is the LC. The payment is paid at the same time when draft is submitted. Okay? Site LC is the site payment. Okay? When draft, the meaning of draft is the bill of exchange. Bill of exchange. When the draft is presented. When draft is presented, the payment is paid at site. Payment is paid at the same time. At the same time. At the same time, draft presented. Okay, so after seeing right, draft and document. After seeing document and draft. After seeing document, right, payment get paid. This is site LC, but nuisance LC is different. Nuisance LC is deferred payment. Deferred payment, meaning that delayed payment. In this case, in nuisance LC, even draft is presented, payment is paid in certain period later. Okay? In this case, even draft presented, payment got paid in certain period later. Okay, this is the nuisance LC, right? This is the two difference. Okay. Okay. Then we have two kind of LC, nuisance LC here. Okay, nuisance LC here. Okay, and then again, we will go to special LC. Okay, and then this time we will start the special LC. Special LC, right? Special LC. Local LC. Okay. Special LC, number one, local LC. Okay. Local LC is LC issued by local bank. Okay. Meaning that on the basis of the master LC, master LC, this LC is original LC. Okay. Once beneficiary accept master LC, the original LC, and then he has no fund. There's no fund to proceed productions, for example. Okay, he got master LC, original LC from his customer, but he has no fund to proceed productions. In this case, on the basis of this master LC, the master LC, sorry, but in this case, on the basis of the master LC, beneficiary request bank to issue local LC. Localized to where? To local form. Okay? Do you know what this means? If beneficiary need to material, then he has no fund to purchase that one, then beneficiary requests the bank to issue local LC to a local firm, the firm which can provide material. Okay, which can provide material. This firm can provide material. Okay, this LC is used for this purpose. Okay, and then in this case, okay, then if beneficiary, the export use this kind of local, in other words, the domestic LC, we can express this one, domestic LC. Okay, we can use this kind of LC even we have no fund to proceed to purchase material. Okay, but this LC is issued from local bank to local firm. Issued from local bank to local firm. Understand? Local company, right? Local company. Local company. Okay? Then applicant in this case is export. Applicant where we export. Okay, you can use this kind of local LC, domestic LC, once you need to purchase by using original LC. Once you have no money to purchase material, you can use this sort of LC, okay? By issuing local LC on the basis of the master LC, you can solve the problem of your fiscal status, okay? Oh, this is the local LC, okay, local PLC. Now I will show you the brief concept of, the special LC, okay? But later on, we might have chance to learn more details regarding this. Okay, but now just the concept, how and why local LC and domestic LC is used and issued. So this kind of LC, local LC, is classified as a special LC. Okay. As a special as this is not normal, but it's very special. Okay. Okay, then another special type of LC, Ascrew Lc. Ascrew Lc. Okay, number 2 type of special LC is Ascrew Lc. Escrow Lc. Okay, the Escrow Lc is usually used for compensation trade. Okay, the meaning of compensation is to balance import and export. To balance an import and export. Okay, so for the payment balance, okay, export and import, they both open escrow account. Okay, once the exporting, then the payment in the here, contrary, payment here. Okay, then export can be an import and import can be an export, meaning that exporting their material and import exporting also their material, and then they save their payment saving at the escrow account, and this money cannot draw back. Only this money is used to pay payment. So the balance of the payment is complemented. Okay? Understand this one? Okay. This payment saved in escrow account is only used for the trading between two parties and then to make the balance. Okay, this is used for the compensation trading. Okay, this cannot draw back. Understand? The export, for example, the export will exporting their product, right? Exporting and payment here, right? Import should payment to a escrow account on the bank, compromised account, okay? Also, at this time, import. This is at the same time export and import. At the same time, import and export. Okay, right this way. Understand? So this time again, importing will export. Okay, then the payment will be balanced in this account. Okay, the payment saved in this account cannot draw back for other purpose. This payment is only used to pay, their payment in trading. Okay, in trading. So they can use this escrow account for compensation trading to balance import and export. Okay, this is Ascrew Lc. This is Ascrew Lc. Okay, also number 3, we have back-to-back Lc. Back-to-back Lc. Okay, this Lc is available just for compensation trading only. Okay, this is the Lc. Okay, even import open Lc, but this Lc is only available when export open when export open same amount importing Lc. Okay, understand this one? Okay, for example, country A and country B, the country A import open Lc, okay, but this Lc is not available until export of country B open same amount importing Lc. Okay, for example, the import open Lc for 1 million USD importing Lc, but this Lc is available effective only export also open Lc as much as 1 million. Okay, the same balance if the same balance is done, this LC is available. This is back-to-back. Okay, this is completely obviously to meet the balance of payment of both countries, right? Okay, this is we called back-to-back LC. Okay. And revolving LC next, number 4, special LC. Revolving LC. Okay. Okay. And this LC is used for repetition trade. Once the similar and same trading is occurred several times in the sudden period, then they used revolving LC. Okay? Because every time they open letter of credit for the similar trading is so inconvenient. So they use revolving LC. Okay? So they are setting total amount. Okay? They are setting total amount. And then letter of credit is automatically renewable. Okay? Then they use letter of credit with repetitions. Then they can save their money for every issuing of a letter of credit for trading. Okay? So the revolving LC is used. Okay? Repetition trading with a similar size trade. Okay? The similar and repetition trading. This is used, and then they can save the P for LCP. They can save LCP, right? Okay, this is revolving LC. Okay, they set total amount, and within that total amount, they used, same letter of credit. Okay, and then they can save the P for opening LC, and they can be convenience because they don't have to open every LC for every trading for the similar trading, right? So this is revolving LC. And then okay, so Red Cross or packing LC, advanced payment LC. This is important. Number 4, special LC is Red Cross. LC, okay, in other words, Packing LC, the same word. Packing LC and Advance Payment LC. Okay. This is very similar. Which can be used for purchasing material. Okay, purchasing material. Okay. And then in this LC, prior to shipment, beneficiary can ask bank to pay within certain amount. Okay, this is the, as it told, Advanced Payment LC. Okay, Red Cross Packing LC, Advanced Payment LC, the similar and same meaning. This LC can be used by the beneficiary for their fiscal flexibility. I mean, once the beneficiary need money to purchase material prior to shipment, before the completion of the shipment, he can ask the bank to pay certain amount within a total amount, right? And then he can use the payment in advance prior to shipment. Then he can purchase material and more flexibility. This is very good system. So this implies that even though you don't have money for manufacturing to complete your contract, if you have any credit between your customer, you can ask this kind of in advance payment LC. Then you will have fund flexibility, and then you can complete your contract, and after shipping you can offset. Okay, then you might have more flexibility for manufacturing and handling business. Okay, this is quite wonderful, right? So you have to keep in mind that this sort of advanced payment letter of credit is quite available for the expert, for the beginner, or for the beneficiary who is in short of fund for complete contract. Okay, so your relationship between you and your customer is very important. If you have very strong relations between you guys, you will proceed your contract even though you are in short of money, right? So credibility is one of the most items we can detect here, because we have many ways to overcome your financial crisis. Okay, so but in this case, Red Cross LC, Packing LC, Advanced Payment LC can be adopted once you have a relationship with a strong credit between you and your customer. Okay, this is very important. Okay, and then we have studied the standby LC. I told you we will study this one, right? And next time we will proceed from standby LC. Okay.